What's up, everyone? It's the Interview Queen Alicia Toot here, and be sure to watch True Heel Heat.
All right, hello, True Heel Heat. I'm the AEW World Champion MJF. Just in case you're deaf, dumb, blind, stupid, or since you listen to this podcast, or you're listening to True Heel Heat, and I apologize for that.
Hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Hill Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for our WWE Survivor Series War Games 2023 preview. And since it's a pay-per-view preview, I had to bring in the big guns. It's going to be in Chicago, Illinois this Saturday. So I had to bring in the biggest name in wrestling media from Chicago, in my opinion, in your opinion, in what everyone's opinion should be. You know him from House of Wrestling. You know him from your favorite AEW media scrums. He is Nick Hausman. What's going on, sir?
I'm good, SP3. Thank you so much for having me on here. I was looking around because I have Nerf guns all over my room here, but the biggest one I have is I'd have to walk, and I didn't want to leave the screen.
It's fine. Well, we remember for next time.
Yeah.
How you doing, Nick? How's everything?
I'm great, SP. Thanks so much for asking. We're like I told you, my wife and I here, we have a new condo, and tomorrow is Thanksgiving, so I have a couple more things to do this afternoon, but then it is just full on getting ready, chopping things up. We already have things brining, but I'm gonna get down and dirty in the kitchen tonight, SP. That's what's on the horizon.
So, what is your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Oh, I'm a big sweet potato mark. I love sweet potatoes. I'm gonna make some twice baked sweet potatoes tomorrow, which are très magnifique. And I like the sides. I like the sweet potatoes, like regular mashed potatoes. I like the mac and cheese. My wife makes a wonderful Brussels sprout bacon dish. And of course, corn casserole is probably my favorite, but I think it's like the worst one for you. I don't know that there's any like redeeming quality, like health quality to corn casserole. It's just crack. It's just amazing. Is all it is. I don't know. Eat a bowl of it.
That's how I feel about my sister. Is she makes like a cornbread stuffing. It's like stuffing that tastes like cornbread. It's like crack. It's like what I look forward to every Thanksgiving. And then I'm kind of with you on the sweet potatoes, but we go more towards the candy yams, which is a little extra sweet to the sweet. Yeah. So I'm ready for tomorrow.
You know, I feel like every year I take the sweet potato and I do it a little bit different than the year before. But candy, that's got my brain thinking here now. I'm really hungry all of a sudden, for what it's worth.
All right, well, we'll cut down on that. We got to get to the actual wrestling. Of course, we appreciate y'all for joining us live. If you're watching us on demand, we appreciate you as well. Remember, show that appreciation back the simplest way possible. Drop the thumbs up on this video. Share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, sound off in the live chat if you're with us live. We love to interact with all of you. And of course, if you're feeling generous, this is what's going to hit us at Christmas time. So send a super chat donation. It always helps out, helps the channel grow. We are a self-funded channel here, so it always helps out, especially around the holiday season. But we'll try to highlight all your comments like our members here. Vala B in the chat. He says, man, I really thought we'd be able to get through this show without mentioning Punk, but then you bring in news from Punk's camp, Nick Hausman.
Hey, I take the sources where I can get them. It depends. I got people in so many camps. I should be running like a national landmark with the amount of campgrounds that I have, like a national park. That's what I should be doing, running a park ground with all these camps.
You really should. You really should.
Got an NWA camp, a WWE camp, a Punk camp. There's nobody's drinking and doing drugs, by the way, in the Punk camp. It's very loud, angry music, but no crazy partying over in the tents over in the Punk camp.
No. It don't get crazy like that. At least you got that to look forward to. We also got Vala B saying, jokes aside, welcome to the show, Nick. We got Vala B also saying we're all mac and cheese marks. Yes, mac and cheese, man. You put it all together, like I said, the stuffing, the candy yams.
Well, you want to bake like a Thanksgiving bowl, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to eventually wind up where all of the sides have somehow blended into some kind of umami. That's what I'm looking for.
Yo, you're so right though, because the plate be so full that some of the sides just mix together, and then you just create something totally new. It's fantastic.
I didn't know that I wanted to try green beans and mac and cheese, but now that I'm doing it, this shit's fly as hell. And you know what? Maybe a little stuffing on top. Just really. Yeah, what am I even doing?
It's some gravy. Like what's going on?
The gravy is like a dip. It's you just kind of take the jus. Using all my cooking words in this.
I know, right? Well, you just getting me hyped for tomorrow. We got Eric Isaac saying happy Thanksgiving. Courtney says happy Thanksgiving. We got Queen Monet, one of our other members, in the chat as well. Go sound off in the live chat. We want to hear your predictions for WWE Survivor Series. But our guy Vala B already put it in the chat. I might as well action right off the bat. Yeah. Right from the start.
Sure.
Are you sure? Are you positive on Wednesday, November 22nd, 2023, that CM Punk will or will not be at Survivor Series?
I'm quite confident Punk is not going to be at Survivor Series. I don't want any, and I was this guy going into All Out because this is we're right back where we were 2 months ago because everyone was convinced Punk's going to be at All Out. This is all a work. Nick Hausman's full of shit. Everything is all fine, right? And lo and behold, he wasn't at All Out. He was terminated 24 hours prior to All Out, right? And Tony had to send that message that strong to let people know this guy's not going to be at that show. I feel like WWE is now in the same boat where they are trying to do, they can't fire the guy. He doesn't work for him. So how else are you going to go out there and send these very clear signals to not expect CM Punk, right? They've explicitly said it on background to the press. Speaking of Fightful, I've talked to people there that said, do not expect that. I've talked to people in Punk's camp who are like, they don't need me, right? Whatever, whoever it may be. So it's definitely not a situation where I think people should be getting excited about CM Punk showing up at Survivor Series. I hate to burst everyone's bubbles, but it doesn't look to be in the cards.
I know some people are going to be disappointed. Some people will be happy about that news. I wanted to ask you, because I always hear them ask about, what you hear from Punk's camp, but I want to know your perspective.
Sure.
Do you think that Survivor Series was the best place to bring back CM Punk to WWE? Because in my eyes, I always thought that Royal Rumble is kind of the better place because then that's a streamline to WrestleMania. I feel like if he came back here, they kind of have to figure out what to do or keep him off TV for a few months until the Royal Rumble, until they get to WrestleMania time. So I always felt like Royal Rumble was more of a better place, but I understand the Chicago connection with Punk. People thought this was the best place. What's your perspective?
Well, they announced they were coming to Chicago at a time, and I saw Sean Ross Sapp noted this on Twitter, which is a very good point. They announced this show at a time CM Punk was still with AEW. He was main eventing shows, so they never had any intentions of bringing CM Punk in for this show. I think at the time, they did think there's a possibility we're going to be getting Randy back by this time. You know, if you look at the reports of when he's been at the Performance Center working towards a return, his physique, I would think at around the time they announced it, they had a very good feeling that they were going to probably get Randy back for Survivor Series. And that's the big return they wanted to build this thing around. And so I think that is definitely something that was probably working against Punk. I also just don't think that WWE wanted to go into a negotiation with somebody who had a hot hand, very much in demand in that very moment, right? You make a quick deal, something you really haven't, whatever worked through, especially considering, the past between the both sides. And just look, I am as interested as anyone and hopeful that Punk comes back to WWE. But I've talked to people here last couple weeks that are really they're pretty down on the idea that Punk is going to be coming back to WWE anytime soon. And this whole is now the right time? Is Rumble the right time? Maybe a big Mania. I don't know that any of that's even in discussions, to be honest. I had somebody recently tell me they thought they'd make Punk wait 3 years before they brought him back in, just to really make him sit, because there's people there convinced that if wherever Punk goes, drama follows it for whatever reason, right? And they've got a real harmonious locker room right now. They are not wanting for money or deals or whatever. I mean, I know the stock's a little bit down, but I'm just being real with everybody. I don't think this is did they not bring him back here because they want him at the Rumble? If they wanted Punk would be there, and that's it. Yeah. And they don't need him or want him right now. It doesn't sound like to me.
Yeah, I said this on the Flasher podcast last Saturday, and I'll say it here. People know I know someone who works for WWE, and the word that they told me is, I expect Tony Khan in 2 years to give him a call before WWE does. That's what they told me. Told me.
And look, Tony likes Punk, right? Yeah. Tony likes Punk, and I think that we're going to find out more in time how this decision to terminate Punk affected Tony, the way Tony does business. If everybody remembers at the All Out Media Scrum, the first question I asked Tony was, what did you learn from this experience with Punk, and what will you do differently to make sure something like this doesn't happen again? And for those that did not see, I got the shortest response ever in the history of media response to calls. I mean, that, and from Tony, that's a real feat, right?
Yeah.
The full word count on his response was 0. He did not. He looked at me and then drank some water and then looked away. And then we all just moved on. And weirdest thing ever. I'm not gonna lie. I like Tony. That was bizarre. Bizarre. I felt so uncomfortable in that moment. For anyone who's ever I wonder what's going on with Hausman's and scrimmage. It's like I suffer from anxiety. I'm just following the story. Anyway.
God bless you.
Yes. But yes, I agree. In 2 years, maybe when the Bucks contracts are up or Kenny's or whatever, and they're looking to change it up. I don't know. I don't know that Punk would love that decision, considering how things have played out. Money talks, things change. Who knows? I don't think Tony hates Punk though. Even with the fear for his life stuff or whatever. I don't know why he said that. I don't know why he said that. I don't think anybody knows.
I don't know. I said immediately after I heard that, I was like, you could have stopped at that part. Like someone didn't tell him, oh, okay, let's edit that part out. Not that part. Everything else is fine, but not that part.
There's got to be a reason he said it. Yeah. And I mean, I want to know. I want to know why he said it.
We all do.
I'd ask him, but I'm not getting as much time with Tony as I used to these days.
You want to ask him, but you're going to get a drink of water instead. He'll drink his water and then stare at you like, next question. So now that we got the elephant out of the room, we addressed CM Punk and Survivor Series. Let's get into what we know. What? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and I want to be very clear, too, I don't think he's Nakamura's mystery opponent. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on around Punk and Survivor, just to know across the board, because I had a lot of people hit me up about that earlier as well. So anyway.
Yeah, because it did. I mean, WWE, they if they wanted to make sure that no one thought CM Punk was coming, they could have done this angle a little bit differently, because him doing the go to sleep and then doing the promos, I can understand why people thought he was the opponent. But
I think Shinsuke
clarifying.
is just having fun with it. Like, the thing is, like, there's nothing going on between the two sides, but that's not stopping a bunch of people from just creating attention for themselves. And God bless, Carney's gonna Carney, my friend. Do it up, get it in, make that dollar.
Work is gonna work, exactly. But
Pepsi Phil money.
Let's get into what we know is gonna go down on Saturday, and we'll start big time with the women's War Games matchup, as it's going to be Damage Control, represented by the WWE Women's Champion Io Sky, along with Bayley, the returning Kairi Sane, and the newly christened Damage Control member Asuka, to face Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, Shotzi, and the man Becky Lynch. This all stems from Crown Jewel, where Kairi Sane made her return to WWE to help Io defeat Bianca for the WWE Women's Championship. And then on the following SmackDown, it was Asuka that turned on Bianca and Charlotte to join up with Damage Control and join their side. And then last week's SmackDown saw Charlotte call on her former friend Becky Lynch to fill in this spot here. I've always, when they said that Becky Lynch was going to be in this spot, I was like, okay, now make it make sense. I don't think they did that very well, but you can't deny this is nothing but star power in this matchup. It's a big time matchup to have on this show, and I wouldn't even mind if this was the main event of the show. What did you think about the build up to this matchup, and who do you think wins, Nick?
Oh, it's been really fun. They grabbed everybody at Crown Jewel with Io coming back. I loved the finish at Crown Jewel with Bayley looking kind of on the outs, and Kairi and Io having that moment there, or Kairi coming back and having that moment with Io. I thought it was great, and everybody was very excited about Kairi being back into the fold, and they've done this really nice job kind of playing into the tension within the group, I thought initially, and then as you're getting closer to the match, throwing the Asuka curveball in there, having these kind of Japanese female talents like uniting, and Bayley's kind of on the outs. It leaves this element of doubt in the match that I think people want to see. Is Bayley going to be able to make it out of this thing? Still a member of the group, and you got a powerhouse group of baby faces on the other side that are going to want to go out and have a great match. But the drama of Damage Control, for an act that a lot of people thought was dead and done about 6 months ago, really have done almost like a Judgment Day job of reinvigorating themselves and kind of creating this new interest in themselves, and hopefully finding a new kind of vibe and tone that can kind of propel them even further, because I'm really digging what they're doing.
Yeah, it's been a complete turnaround ever since really Io won the Money in the Bank back in July. And then it's just been going from strength to strength. Like you said, the Kairi being involved, Asuka now being in the group. They kind of seem like they are revived from where they were a year ago. I thought when they lost the War Games last year, I was like, okay, they're done. Because I was like, Bayley was 0-3 against Bianca in championship matches. Then I thought they were going to win War Games to get their heat back, but they lost that. But they've done a really good job, like I said, since Io won Money in the Bank.
Well, and Damage Control, what an interesting act, and it will be, they will be making documentaries about this act, because they were the first creative decision Hunter made, when he had full control. Right after Vince stepped down, he retired. We immediately saw Paul take control. There was that SummerSlam. It was his first big show, and his first big to-do was bringing back Io and Dakota as part of Damage Control, right? And they put this act together with Bayley. It was going great until Vince McMahon got back into the fold. Surprise, surprise, right? Paul's thing is no longer the focus and getting the attention it was, and for whatever other myriad of reasons, the group went into just array, right? It was not booked the same, didn't come across quite the same way. Now with Vince gone, Paul's back. and the things are very differently. The focus is back on them. There's a focus on storytelling within the act, and I definitely think, yeah, the Joshi infusion. Hunter is trying to send a message to Japanese talent right now between this and the Shinsuke promo stuff. It's just it's a good, interesting time to be watching the WWE product, because I think it is finally, knock on wood, finding a bit of its groove and doing some things that loyal, I won't say hardcore, but loyal WWE wrestling fans are really digging in the moment.
Yeah, for sure. We got Yankee Boy saying, love seeing them Joshi sticking together. We also got Bell, who says, I honestly think Bianca's team will win. Io, Kyrie, Asuka, and Dakota turn on Bailey, and Bailey then maybe wins the Rumble to challenge Io at Mania. So who do you think is going to win? Because it's really kind of up there, because you would think maybe Damage Control needs this win to kind of really solidify themselves as that dominant group. But there's also the option of, like Bell saying, of the babyface team winning to kind of further progress the dissension going on from Bailey and the other members of the group.
My gut says heels over here. I think Damage Control picks up the win. I mean, obviously the caveat is if they don't, it's because of some kind of confusion with Bailey. But I think that's things are really getting going here with this act. And, it's wonderful having these Joshi women stick together, but, it is still a North American product, and being able to communicate to that audience is very important. And Bailey is a phenomenal talker. She has a vibe with these women. I think it would be, look, you could have Dakota Kai step into that role, but it's different. I think it's too early to break him, and I would like to see Damage Control go over with the win.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying the fact that after Io won Money in the Bank, it's really just been Bailey's there to cut the promos for Io being a great wrestler.
Yeah,
that works. That's a great act. Like, that works.
And look, you got Shotzi in there, and again, when you're looking at who would be the one to take the fall for the babies, Shotzi probably, I don't know that they're going to have, Charlotte, wrapped up in barbed wire and tapping out against her will, but who knows? But Shotzi seems like a safe bet if they were looking for somebody for the heels to pile on while everybody else is handcuffed or something like that.
Very true. Very true. Next up here, we got a little grudge match. We got the LWO kind of breakup falling out here, as it's going to be Carlito going one-on-one with Santos Escobar. Back at Crown Jewel, it was Escobar who tried to help Rey Mysterio during his matchup with Logan Paul, taking away Logan Paul's brass knuckles, but mistakenly left them on the apron for Logan Paul to grab and use them to beat Rey for the U.S. Championship. It was Carlito that pointed that out on the following SmackDown, which led to Santos just watching Carlito get jumped by Street Business. And then he went on to have an argument with Rey that led to him turning on Rey, betraying him. And then he talked about it last week on SmackDown, how Rey always spited him in this LWO, taking over leadership, taking the U.S. title, bringing people like Carlito into the group, turned his back on the other members, attacked them, and now he faces Carlito here. Who do you think wins this grudge match, and what have you thought about the Santos Escobar heel turn so far?
I kind of want to see Carlito win here, just because I think he's really over with the fans right now. He hasn't really had a big singles victory on a pay-per-view yet. This is the first time, so I think it'd be a great chance to get him over. And I want to see Santos keep getting angry. Like, I want to see him get angrier. And I'm not saying that he needs to lose clean to Carlito. Maybe Zelina has to make a decision she didn't want to make, right? Maybe Carlito does something clever to get one over after, like, Santos goes to cheat and Carlito reverse it. He does his own cheating thing for the, hey, if you're going to do it, I'm going to do it, and I outsmarted you kind of thing, and Santos is just pissed, right? But I think Santos Escobar getting a little bit more angry, getting screwed over. That's what I want to see Carlito up, because eventually the match you're going to want to see is Santos Rey. Carlito's kind of in the middle here. I think he could use the rub of a pay-per-view win, but maybe that's just me.
You might be onto something, because they do need to keep Santos busy until like the end of the year, because you would think that, Rey's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks with his injury. He's not going to be back till probably the Royal Rumble. You probably want to keep this a little bit hot, but I am going to go with Santos here. I do like your argument, though, because I do agree. Carlito needs a win, like, to really kind of build his credibility while he's still hot and over as a new act in or a returning act back to WWE.
Yeah, for sure. And look, if Carlito gets the win here just before Ray comes back, Santos gets the big win over Carlito. That all and it plays into him looking strong going into Ray. But again, I'm expecting, with Del Toro and Wild and Vega and potentially whoever from Logan Paul's entourage wants to show up this time. Who knows? Bad Bunny, for all we know. There's going to be typical LWO drama shenanigans, I think, in this bout, and that's why I leave the door open to like a kind of clever Carlito victory.
Yeah, I say if Carlito wins, it's because of Selena. But if Santos wins, it's because Cruz and Joaquin have basically chosen Santos. Because I feel like that attack, it wasn't that hard for them to be like, okay, now we're going to be on your side. So I think that they will probably turn and join up with Santos, and that's how he gets the win.
There you go.
This match is very, very interesting, and one of the guys have said this is a challenge for him because he's going against a style that he does not like, as it's going to be Gunther defending the Intercontinental Championship against the 8-time champion, The Miz. The Miz basically was bullied by Gunther on an episode of Miz TV, and he talked about how Miz is a joke and not as good as he thinks he is, and this led to Miz having a babyface turn, winning a fatal 4-way against Ivar, Bronson Reed, and Ricochet to earn this opportunity. He's even beaten Ivar in singles competition, and then laid out Gunther in a face-to-face on Monday Night Raw. What have you thought about this rivalry heading into Survivor Series this Saturday, and who do you think wins?
This past Monday night was a stop what you're doing and watch your TV screen kind of moment, and that's exactly what happened with me. I was on my laptop, and as soon as I heard this very interesting promo exchange between a babyface Miz and like an ultra dick Gunther who like hates America and loves bullying little like Mike Mizanin.
I love he called him Mike the entire time. He called him Mike.
Yeah, and he's like, you love wrestling. Oh, I bet you're like all these stupid people. You love wrestling. Ugh. I love it. This is what The Miz does really well. He brings out this side in people where they feel that they need to elevate. They're trying to prove something, against this guy, and it's just been wonderful. I'm all in. I hope Miz wins for what it's worth. I think it'd be great.
It would be interesting. It would be interesting.
I hope Miz beats him.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I hope Miz. Look, Gunther has talked a lot of smack. I hope he loses. I hope he loses to Miz.
I'm with Gunther. And I think Miz is a weirdo.
Let me see how many times the Miz has won the Intercontinental title.
8 times. 8 times. I looked it up. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. He's one off of tying the record by Chris Jericho.
Most all-time IC title runs. Okay.
It's Jericho and then The Miz.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. So this would be an historic win. We got people in the chat even telling you, Nick, stop.
Yeah, look at that. Jericho at 9 and Miz. Well, but look, here's the thing. Like, there's really not a huge reason for Gunther to hang on to this belt. He's already proved it. He's the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time, right? He's himself said he's outgrown this. On the other side of Survivor Series, we're going to need some people to step up into the Roman, Seth Rollins situations, Yeah. I think that he would be great with Rollins. We'll talk a little bit about Rollins here in just a second. But again, like, historic title reign, and then he would lose it to somebody who also then makes history with their title reign. Interesting to think about. And for a guy, because I think that people want to like Miz. He's obviously a babyface, right? He's going to be booked as a babyface. But I mean, they really they want this guy to be able to have a reason to go into the Hall of Fame. A lot of people are like, name me your favorite Miz match. Maybe this is it. Maybe this guy, I'm not kidding. I mean, look,
it's true.
Maybe this is it. I think Miz is very, very underrated, and I'm very excited about this one. I hope he wins. I'll go Miz.
I'm going to go with Gunther because I want Gunther to be the Intercontinental Champion when he beats Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 40. I want him to be there as the all-conquering ring general with both titles.
Okay,
That's
We'll
what
see.
I'm looking for. But I mean, I've seen crazier things, so the Miz call is not that far fetched. But let's see if you go far fetched here with the WWE Women's World Championship, as Rhea Ripley will defend against Zoe Stark. Zoe Stark earned this opportunity in a women's battle royal just a couple of weeks back, last eliminating Shayna Baszler, and she has stepped up and gotten in the face of Rhea Ripley, kind of showing that she has no fear of mommy and wants to take her down and win her first championship, singles championship in WWE. What have you thought about the build up to this matchup, and who do you think wins with Rhea and Zoe here?
Well, we already kind of seen it. Zoe didn't win. I'm not really into it personally. I like Zoe a lot. There are other people I would like to see get surprise victories on this show, which I've laid out. And so I think Zoe's a phenomenal talent who will definitely grow, but she is I'm going with Rhea on this one. Maybe I'm way off, but it does not feel like the moment for Rhea to lose here.
Now, I think that WWE has made it very, very clear that probably WrestleMania Night 1 is going to be main evented by Rhea and Becky, and WrestleMania Night 2 is going to be Cody and Roman. So I think that's the whole reason why they've kept Rhea and Becky apart this long. You don't change things up just this close to the finish line. So I agree with you. I think Rhea wins. And I kind of not really into this. It's probably the matchup on the card that I'm not into because the winner is not in doubt in the slightest to me.
Yeah, I think there's that. And it's just, Zoe did the Trish stuff, and I thought they would do more with her kind of coming out of that. I thought we would see more, and Trish just kind of disappeared. So, again, she's being positioned as a main eventer. Maybe the back-to-back losses will do something to her, right, to make her act out. Give her an edge, get angrier, right? That's right. That's the thing is like a loss can be a win depending on how you take it. Because if you lose in the right moment and you get really angry and it drives you to further your character, that's a win. And that's very similar to what I said with Santos Escobar earlier. Like that's why I'd rather see him lose right now because I want to see him get angrier, that he's aggrieved. And I think that as an aggrieved Zoe Stark after these two losses could be more interesting on the other side.
I agree with you because she definitely does need a character because it was just she was the second to Trish for a while. Now without Trish, she hasn't really developed any type of character. You need to get on that. So I agree with you. That should be the thing that is the catalyst for the next chapter of her character. But let's talk about the last chapter of what many people believe is going to be the main event of this Saturday show, the men's War Games matchup. It's going to be the Judgment Day team of Finn Balor, Senior Money in the Bank Damian Priest, the NXT North American Champion Dominic Mysterio, JD McDonough, and a special, kind of a soldier for them on the night, Drew McIntyre, to face Team Cody Rhodes, the World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and the returning Randy Orton. It was announced on Monday on Raw, basically without saying his name, that Randy Orton would be the final member of this team. But this whole thing has been building for the past, I would say, 6 months. Like since Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens were tag team champions, since it came to Monday Night Raw, they've been feuding with the Judgment Day, and it all stems from that feud. They've inserted Cody into it. Then Jey Uso comes over. He tried to get recruited by the Judgment Day, turns them down. Now he's an enemy of them. You had Seth Rollins and Finn Balor feuding over the World Heavyweight Championship. Damian Priest with Money in the Bank. You got the Cody and Randy connection. So many different thread lines in this whole War Games matchup. What have you thought about the build-up? Who do you think wins on Saturday?
A lot of fun. The Judgment Day, right? Big fan. They are doing so good. Firing on all cylinders. I hope Drew sticks around Judgment Day. I actually think he kind of fits in pretty well with that act, for what it's worth. But we'll see how that goes in time. A lot of questions around Drew. This is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a very, very fun match. It's going to be very exciting. So obviously this thing could go any which way of Sunday. Here's the scenario in which I've convinced myself is going to happen that will very likely not happen. But I could foresee miscommunication on the babyface side. Randy Orton, very volatile character, very volatile individual, right? Little, these are big egos over there with Seth and Cody and Sami. Well, Sami's a pretty humble guy, but Jey, right? Very big egos here. I could see some miscommunication, some pushing, and then Randy dropping members of his own team with some RKOs, right? Maybe sending a signal to the current world champion, Seth Rollins, in the match. I also think that it is interesting. No one is making much noise about the fact that the man with the Money in the Bank briefcase and the current world champion are going to be locked in a double steel cage together, okay? If there is one match where it would be very likely that the world champion has been absolutely brutalized, it will be this match. And if at the end of it, Randy Orton lays out Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, does a walkout, maybe kind of deal, like he don't care. He just got called in last second. He don't care. He'd probably get a big pop. Everybody like, that ruled. That was amazing.
Yes, he used to walk out all the time.
He lays out everybody on his own team after trying to make it work because, again, he's a psychopath, right? And then he leaves. And now you have these broken down baby faces in the ring with the guy who has the briefcase and his entire team plus Drew McIntyre, right? Now, I'm not saying it's a sure thing. There's a lot of things that can happen with a Money in the Bank tease. Drew is a wild card in all of this. But I think this could be very interesting. There's just so much to play with. I think the closing 5 minutes of this show, this match, whatever, will be very. And a lot of people I see in the chat room are saying they see Randy turning on Jey. Why just Jey?
Well, because Jey was the one that took him out. He was a part of Bloodline when they took out Randy. So.
Starts there. Seth pushes him. He eats an RKO too. Cody's like, dude, I vouch for you. Gives him an RKO. Sami Zayn's like, dude, can we talk about Palestine? And he's like, you're cool. I'm out. And he leaves, right? And Sami Zayn is the last one standing.
Sami Zayn has to fight everybody on his own because he's like, come on, come on.
I'm just kidding. He'd lay out Sami too. He's like, no, I don't want to talk about Palestine. RKO out of nowhere.
He's like, I'm like Spyglass. I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, I want to talk about it.
Oh man, but yeah, I think I'm like everybody else in the chat. I can definitely see Randy Orton turning on all of his teammates. I don't think they will do that, but. And I thought about Judgment Day winning this matchup, but I tried to get around Damian Priest having Money in the Bank, and I would see if Judgment Day won, it should probably be Seth that takes this fall because I think it's too predictable for Sami or Jey to take it. It should be Seth. So why wouldn't he cash in, and why not do the cash in right there? And if you're gonna do that, why hasn't WWE even brought up that idea?
Well, here's the thing: can you cash in Money in the Bank during the match?
You could cash in during a matchup. Yeah, Seth did that.
So could in theory Damian Priest cash it in just before pinning Seth Rollins, ending the match and winning the title at the same time? Is that's a viable real thing, right?
That is canon because of Seth Rollins cashing in at WrestleMania.
And they made it a triple threat. Yes. And so now all of a sudden this War Games match would be for the world title. That seems wild. But hey. You know what? Hey, bottom line is this very fun conversation we're having. All these different roads we're going down. It is a full-on spotlight on the very good storytelling WWE has done, because it's not just a matter of who's going to win, this guy or that guy. It's a matter of how they're going to win. I'm invested. I want to see how these people interact with each other. And it's the kind of storytelling it's just the kind of storytelling I really enjoy from pro wrestling. I really like it.
Yeah, because like the beginning part of the year, Bloodline, we're putting on, like I said, I've said it many times, top 3 WWE storyline of all time. That kind of fell off after kind of Money in the Bank going into SummerSlam, and they haven't really put the focus on that. And I feel like Judgment Day has kind of so firmly positioned themselves as the top storyline in WWE, because the dynamic of Damian Priest with Rhea Ripley is just so great. I saw that on Monday, them having a little segment, a little conversation about talking about who's going to be in the advantage match. I was like, this whole combination is just so money. That's just 2 stars and they're being elevated in the same group. It's just so great to see. And they're the original members of the group with Edge, Rhea, and Damian. So it's great to see how far they have come in this group. And then you add on the fact of the Drew McIntyre slow burn heel turn was some of the best television at the same time as the Judgment Day. And that's why it's kind of this War Games feels so big. It feels almost as big, or if not bigger, than last year's War Games with the Bloodline. So that says a lot for what they've done with the Judgment Day. I think in the end, though, I think all the dissension that they teased on Monday with Drew and Damian is going to come back to roast. And Drew is either walking out on his team, or he, with an errant Claymore to Damian Priest, is the reason why the baby faces win. I see Team Cody getting the win with probably either Cody or Randy pinning Damian Priest.
I'm going Judgment Day on this one. I'll go opposite.
I like it. I mean, Judgment Day, this would be the win that kind of puts them and solidifies them. So wouldn't mind that either.
Randy's going to do the job for him, baby. Randy's going to kill everyone. He's going to take a little boot knife out. He's going to stab somebody. Be like, Seth, you didn't see that coming, idiot.
You ain't see this knife coming? Poke, poke, poke. You ain't seen
the
it?
Viper.
Get you out of nowhere. But yes, that is all the matches, everything we know that is going to go down at WWE Survivor Series War Games this Saturday. I want to thank Nick Hausman, who is going to be there at Survivor Series, I'm sure. And I wanted to thank you so much for coming on here, being on the preview. Love talking to you. Always making me laugh with a big smile on my face. Let the people know where they can follow you on social media, House of Wrestling, and everything else you got going on.
Yeah, thank you very much, SP, for having me. Yeah, houseofwrestling.com, HAUS of wrestling.com. That's your home for all your pro wrestling coverage, or, most of it. We can share it around. There's enough, for everybody to get some. But we got lots of exclusives. We do interviews, houseofwrestling.com. I will be at Survivor Series this weekend. I will be in the press conference. If I get a chance to ask Triple H a question, it will likely be about CM Punk. So strap in, get excited about that. And then on Monday at noon Eastern, I am rolling out my new daily pro wrestling news show, Rumor and Innuendo. It is the first ever pro wrestling news show presented by Ad Free Shows, Podcast Heat. They let us use the name Rumor and Innuendo. It is me and former WWE writer Robert Carpellis, a.k.a. at WWE Creative-ish on Twitter, if you follow that very funny account. Me and Robert are going to be breaking it down Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, on Rumor and Innuendos, YouTube, Twitter. We'll also be on all the Ad Free Shows platforms. It's all free and public, live streaming just like this. House of Wrestling platforms, the Creative-ish account. So follow all that stuff. We won't be hard to find. And if you don't catch us in video form when we record, you go over to Rumor and Innuendo over on your favorite podcast platform. Give us a follow. Give us a nice comment. We did a test show yesterday for just some Ad Free Shows Patreon members to just kind of work out some kinks. Got very good feedback. So I'm looking forward to that a lot and get excited.
I'm excited. Rumor and Innuendo. Go check it out.
Where's my big gun?
Go get the Nerf gun. No, definitely check it out. Nick Hausman, always doing great stuff, always making people laugh and keeping people informed. And he's got the Nerf. He's got the Nerf out here. Oh, he's got the Glock out here. He got the Uzi. He got the Uzi out here.
It's locked up.
Work it.
There
we go. There we go.
The big guns, Nick Hausman.
Big guns, Nick Hausman, right there. Yeah.
Nothing's more intimidating than a 38-year-old man with a Nerf gun.
I love it. I love it. That's the Uzi right there, man. That's the Uzi. But you can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at TrueHillHeat. Check out all the great content we got on the channel right now, or Nick Hausman's going to get you with the Uzi. We got Check out True Hill Heat 251 from this past Saturday. Check out our Full Gear review from earlier this week and our NJPW World Tag League preview from earlier this week as well. Thank you to Nick Hausman. Thank you to all of you for joining us live. Remember to drop the thumbs up, comment down below with your predictions for WWE Survivor Series War Games. And I'll be back tomorrow live here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel with AE Ramble reviewing tonight's Dynamite. And join us live at 8 p.m. for Elite Heat watching tonight's Dynamite with True Jaw Josh and Chris G. For Nick Hausman, it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been our Survivor Series War Games preview. We are signing off until next time.